Welcome everyone to my session at the Friends of OpenJDK Room at FOSDEM. My name is Stephen Chin. I'm the VP of Developer Relations at JFrog, and I'm very pleased to be able to talk about one of my favorite topics. Today I'm going to talk about how everyone can support the Java community, and I'm a longtime Java community member as a JUG leader, Java champion, Java 1 speaker, Java 1 rockstar, Java 1 conference chair, where I ran the Java community for a while, and now I'm pleased to be able to do the same at JFrog, sponsoring our activities for the Java community and other developer communities. And I think, as everyone here knows, the Java community is one of the most vibrant and active developer communities, with over 12 million global developers represented, a huge set of Java user groups with hundreds of active global Java user groups on all continents, and a huge community of advocates and folks who are quite active, support the Java community, and a bunch of my great friends who joined me on stage for the Java 1 community keynote you can see here in this slide. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to talk a bit about how everybody can better engage with the Java community. These are tips which you may find useful yourself. It's a great way to share with colleagues and coworkers who you want to get more active in the Java community. And I think it's something which we should all be cognizant about, how we can become better corporate citizens, better community citizens, and help to engage and support our fellow community champions. So let's start out with the one which I think is most obvious, since we're all here at the Friends of OpenJDK Room, is how can you become more active in the biggest open source project for Java, which is OpenJDK, which supports the Java releases itself. And if you're not already a committer in this room, which I'm sure a lot of you are, it's very easy. Go to openjdk.java.net/contribute. There is great advice here on how you can engage and get started, but basically find something interesting which you want to do, whether it's a bug fix, whether it's a feature, whether it's something which you can add value over time with. Discuss your intended change on the mailing list, become active, talk to other folks who are committers, talk to folks and get ideas about the best way to approach it. Submit a patch, start out with small things, bug fixes, things which are easy to review and fix. And over time, you'll build the credibility that you not only have great ideas about how to improve the Java releases, but also you have the engineering discipline to produce great patches and do the right testing and follow the process, so that you can keep the Java platform stable and a great platform for other developers. And I think a great success story for all of us in OpenJDK contribution is one of my good friends, Johan Voss, who is one of the primary contributors to OpenJFX, which is a sub-project of OpenJDK focused on JavaFX. He's also the CEO of Gluon. He's got a very busy life, but he finds enough time to be active, contribute patches, and make great improvements to the JavaFX code line, which is something near and dear to my heart. So if you're not already a contributor to OpenJDK, become one. If you have friends who you'd like to get to contribute to OpenJDK, this is a great way of introducing them to the process. And I think this is a great start for folks on how you can build and grow the number of contributors, which will make the overall Java platform more vibrant and better for all of us. The second one is, of course, we've all been stuck home during this pandemic, and I think we probably all a year ago thought it would be quite a bit different. This is kind of how I pictured myself after the apocalypse and after travel was ended and we had to go forage for food. Just down the road with my dog, or apparently I have a cat now. But apparently this wasn't the reality for most software developers. Instead, we ended up being locked up at home with increasingly elaborate setups. This is a little bit about my video recording setup. You can see with my camera, lights, and a fancy backdrop, which is behind my treadmill desk. And I think we've all found ways to be productive, to accomplish what we need to get done from our home environment, and are quite fortunate as software developers that this is something which we can all do and be successful at, and maintain pretty good employment with. But this isn't the case for everyone, and how can we better help folks to fight COVID And some members of the Java community have figured this out and done great contributions with things like the COVID Data Explorer, which is done by the DLSC. And this is something which is actually written as a JavaFX application. I'm going to show a demo of this running in JPro, which is a framework which lets you run JavaFX inside the browser. The JPro guys do a really good job with this technology, so you can just pop it right open in your favorite browser. Here I'm running Firefox, so we have JavaFX running right within the browser, and we can check out the COVID data on a bunch of different countries. So here we have Germany, Switzerland, and the United States. If this was a contest for like, you know, a race or economy, or like who could you know, sprint the farthest. As usual, being very competitive in the U.S., we are totally winning the COVID race. So kudos to us. Unfortunate for a lot of us though. And this allows you to better, you know, zoom in on the data, get an idea of what the trends are. You can add in different countries which you want to explore, like maybe check out how our friends in Japan are doing. So a very nice visualization, and as software developers, there's a wealth of data out there that folks can see and take a look at. But without good visualization tools, without the ability to actually look for trends and look for what's actually happening, it makes it a lot harder to make wise decisions. And I think one of the things which we can help as software developers and the Java community is both building great tools like this, which help to analyze the public data out there on COVID and other health issues, and also to amplify on social and in other channels about the great work which the Java community is doing to help to push back against pandemics like this. So again, another great thing which we can all do to make the world a better place. And this is a great example of JavaFX technology in action and the Java community kind of rising to the occasion. I want to take a quick minute here to point out that all of the slides for the talk are posted at the URL you see here. And also my employer, JFrog, is going to give out free T-shirts to FOSDEM attendees. So we're going to raffle off 5 T-shirts to folks who are interested. This is our limited edition liquid software T-shirt. So come say hi at our show notes page, which has all the info about the slides and stuff here, and no need to take notes. Just either scan the QR code or pop in the URL bit.ly FOSDEM 2021_JFrog. So number 3, I think this is something which is really important because we're at the Friends of OpenJDK Room, which is sponsored by the Foojay community, this is a great community resource, which has recently been built by great folks in the community who care a lot about this technology, like the organizers of this room. And it's designed to be a place where you can share information about different Java trends, the best use cases for using OpenJDK, different polls, what's happening in the industry. And I think community resources like this are extremely important because this is how we bring the community together and we get folks to start having conversations about topics and things which matter to all of us. So join the Foojay community, go to Foojay.io, check out the content that there's pretty much new content being published every day on Foojay today by a variety of different authors from the Java community. And it's a fairly young community, so there's also a great chance to engage. If you want to join, be active, start new categories, add your own content and posts, or just be, an active advocate for the Foojay community, or even come up with ideas on things you'd like to see on Foojay. I think these are all things which are possible, and we've definitely been also sponsoring Foojay from JFrog and have joined the board and are helping to push it forward and make it a better place for the entire Java community. Okay, so number 4 is join and/or sponsor a Java user group. I think this is one which is very near and dear to my heart because I'm a user group leader as the JavaFX Silicon Valley organizer. Also, I've spoken at user groups across the world. So whenever I can, I travel and I try to get out there. Given the pandemic, you might be wondering, well, are Java user groups still happening? Are we still doing JUGs globally? And of course we are. We're just doing them virtually. So you can see a bunch of my colleagues in the Java community at JFrog, Sven, Melissa, and Baruch, all doing virtual conferences at various user groups around the world. And I think this is something which a lot of user groups have transitioned to pretty smoothly. Some have chosen intentionally to wait till they can get back to in-person presentations, which I think is also a respectable position. And hopefully we'll have vaccines and we'll have other measures in place to make that safe and possible to do. But in the meantime, this is a great way to get out there and show your support for the Java community. And it's something which you can actually do globally. You can join and be active in Java user groups that aren't even regionally local to you. Support the community, and also if you're in a company which has some outreach budget, most Java user groups are very interested in finding sponsorships. At JFrog, we sponsor a bunch of user groups for their Zoom or online fees, for other membership things they'd like to do, giveaways. And I think it's been very well received because user groups want to continue operating. They want to continue to bring great educational content to the Java audience. And as members of the community, if we either by joining a Java user group and showing support by being there, or by helping our companies to sponsor and support user groups, this is one way which we can better grow the Java community and make it a better place for all of us. Okay, so the next topic I want to cover is joining a JUG Tour. And I think this is something which is extremely exciting and is a great way to get out there and show your support for the Java community. And let me just play you guys a short clip about one of the tours which I was able to do when I was at Oracle to show what we were doing for the Japanese Java community. So basically what we did is we traveled across Japan and specifically visited some more rural areas of the country where we would hit user groups where they weren't in Tokyo, which is a big hub, but they still had very active communities. Spoke to their user communities, sometimes with translation. Sometimes they were also pretty patient to listen to our English, and even over the language barrier, we had great communication with the local attendees. And I think this is another way where you can help to do outreach to smaller user groups and communities, make a difference in their ability to engage with their attendees. And if you think about it, lots of user groups just don't have the opportunity to have big name speakers or folks who have a very highly technical presentation plans. And it's great occasionally to have somebody come by who can bring some new, interesting, and innovative ideas into their user groups and communities. So we were able to travel all the way from Tokyo to the southernmost city, Kumamoto, where they had the earthquakes, but they've recovered nicely since. All the way to the northern island of Hokkaido, which you actually have to go through a ferry to go. So we took the motorcycles on a ferry, and I think we're very warmly received all across Japan, and greatly supported by Java user groups like JJUG, which is the Japanese Java user group community. Now, you might be saying, well, it's kind of hard to do this today because of the pandemic. So we know and we, and that's the community is process on organizing a virtual JUG tour. So this is something which is I guess I'm officially announcing it now at FOSDEM. But the board members of Foojay, so Azul, JFrog, Pyara, DataStack, Sneak, and others are all working together to organize a virtual Java user group tour where we can visit a whole bunch of user groups virtually, March through April. This is something which I think is a great way to give outreach to not only like large Java user groups who've transitioned nicely to the pandemic and want to engage with us, but also smaller user groups or folks who are trying to build their user base. And I think the unique thing about the pandemic now is it's kind of normalized geographies. So if you're a developer and you're in a remote region, or you can't physically make it out to a large city, or you don't want to live in a large city, you now have the opportunity to see great content and presentations online on any night. On any given night, there's a virtual user group happening somewhere in the world, which you can learn and engage with. So I know that in the Bay Area, between San Francisco JUG and Silicon Valley JUG and the JavaFX Silicon Valley JavaFX user group I run, pretty much every week you can go to a different Java user group and to find a great speaker. Now you can do that globally, where you don't have to be in a big metropolis. You can actually be anywhere, and we're taking that on the road, and we're going to do a whole set of unique content, different presentations, a couple each week for a couple months, and you can follow along, join the tour. We'll have a page up on Foojay to highlight the tour, and if you're interested to either participate as a speaker or as a user group host, or just find more info, contact my colleague Ari Waller, who's one of the folks who supports the Java user groups at JFrog, and he'll send you more info. So that's super exciting. We're very pleased to be able to announce our virtual Foojay JUG Tour. I think the next big thing, which I'd recommend everybody do right now, if you're not already following a Java champion, there's a lot of great folks who you can follow and engage with on Twitter, and this is again a great way, not only during normal times but during the pandemic, where you can be super active, support folks in the Java community, like my friend Johan Voss, who I mentioned, who is a core contributor to OpenJFX, like Heinz Kibbutz, who is one of the founding Java champions and also the organizer of a great Unconference. Trisha Gee, who is a developer advocate for JetBrains, and again, one of the great community members. I visited her in Spain when I was traveling through on a motorcycle tour, and she was a great host. Simon Maple, who runs the virtual JUG, which is, again, one of these great resources where you can always, they were doing virtual before virtual was cool, and now they're still doing virtual, and they're the best at it. Kirk Pepperdine, who is the world expert in Java performance tuning. Andre Amare, Fabiani, Linda van der Paul, and a whole host of Java champions. So I'd recommend go to the Java Champions Twitter handle and then see who the Java Champions Twitter handle is following. Should be no surprise, it's mostly Java champions. And go down the list and follow a whole bunch of Java champions. And this is a great way to bootstrap your social presence in supporting and engaging with the Java community, and being kind of that taking your career and your basically your social networking and your job growth to the next level. The next thing I'd highly recommend is we are all pros now at Slack. We use it for work. We use it for conferences, and you should be a member of a Java Slack channel if you're not already. And these are 3 great open Java Slack channels that anybody can join. The first one, Foojay, is the official Slack channel for the Foojay.io website. Very community friendly. As I said, growing community, so you can have a huge voice. This is where all the decisions get made on the content on Foojay, on things like the virtual JUG Tour, which we're organizing. And it's a great way to engage and just kind of be part of the community. The Java Specialist Slack. So the Java Specialist Slack was started by Heinz Kibbutz. It is the largest collection of Java developers globally. So Heinz has done a great job curating and bringing forth one of the biggest Slack channels in the entire Java community. It's also the place to find out about cool unconferences and to talk about random Java topics and just to pick the brains of geniuses like Heinz and others who regularly answer questions and engage with the community. And the last one I'll put here is the virtual JUG Slack, which it's the discussion area and kind of how you engage for virtual JUG, but it's also a great resource to just engage with other folks in the Java community. So I would highly recommend joining all three of these Slack channels. This is something where the more engaged you are and the more ways you find to interact with the Java user group community by kind of joining different efforts like this, the bigger the growth is, and encourage both you and your colleagues to join, engage, and if you have a technical question, all three of these Slacks are great places to ask it. There's experts who are happy to answer, and it's a really open and friendly environment. Number 8 is joining the JCP, the Java Community Process. I think this is something which a lot of us know about, but we just overlook that it's entirely free to join as a member of a Java user group. And as an individual. So I think this is something where if you're a JUG member, you should definitely join the JCP, join the process, have your voice in elections, review the proposals and the specs which are upcoming, and this is a great way for you to engage with what's upcoming in terms of new releases, new JSRs, and new specifications, which are going to define the next standard for Java and the future of how things go forward. So, again, this is something which I think everybody can and should get involved in, and it just provides a lot of opportunities for everybody to have a voice in the community and affect the future of the Java platform. Something which I think everybody can and should do on a regular basis is just be active in sharing your knowledge, writing articles, writing blogs. You can start this really simply by microblogging, sharing things on a personal blog site, sharing things on websites like dev.to, which are open for anyone to post on, and hopefully you'll get picked up by, and some of your articles will appear in places like dzone, InfoQ, or Java World. And one more place, which I think is probably the best place to get started right now in the Java community. Shameless plug for our favorite new community project, Foojay. And Foojay today is a great way to put your blogs out there. Very open to resyndication if you just want to repost blogs which you posted on your personal site. And I think this is a great way to be heard by a larger voice and to contribute to the growth of a new and budding Java community. So get out there, share your knowledge, write articles, write blogs, and share them broadly. Don't just hide them on a personal website. Share them and syndicate them on some of these great resources. And the final one, which I'm going to recommend everybody here do, is participate in an unconference. So I think this is perhaps my favorite way to engage with the Java community, which is we're at a conference right now, and I think FOSDEM is kind of unique in my opinion, in that when you come to FOSDEM, it's a very open environment with just the level of engagement, and all the folks who are in the room are involved in OpenJDK, are active in projects, and are extremely they love the Java platform. I think it produces an environment where everybody is a part of the conversation. So even though there's one speaker, often the conversations in the room, especially towards the front of the room, are actually more interesting than what's happening purely on stage. And I think unconferences bring this to the next level, where everybody's a speaker. So at an unconference, you have a collection of folks who come together. Anybody can join, so it's open. You just have to invite yourself in, sign up early, show that you want to be active and engaged with the community, and you'll be sitting with the likes of Heinz Kibbutz, who is the founder of JCreed and runs one of the biggest unconferences on the island of Greece each year, with J Alba in Scotland, which is another great unconference, which kind of was an offshoot from JCrete. J Spirit in Germany, which was started by Sebastian Daschner, a Java champion, and this is run in a refinery near the border of Austria and Germany. And again, a really great unconference with, of course, great spirits and great spirit from the attendees as well. And Sebastian and I also started an unconference in Japan called J Onsen, which again has a great following and a lot of active engagement. And J Alba also made the switch to virtual, and is currently accepting registrations for the virtual unconference that they're going to conduct in May. So if you can't wait for travel restrictions to be lifted, you can attend a virtual unconference. And hopefully soon we'll all be traveling and participating in physical unconferences, and I hope to see you at an unconference somewhere in the world. So I hope through these tips you've learned different ways which you can engage with the Java community, which you can show that you really care and support the Java community. One thing I would actually highly caution against is you should definitely not write a book. So I'm half joking. There are some really great benefits to writing a book, and I think the satisfaction of sharing your knowledge should be worth it. But if you think that it will make you money, then you'd probably be better off flipping burgers. So I think there's its own satisfaction writing books, and I was joined by Johan Voss, James Weaver, and a whole host of great JavaFX community members, including Gail and Paul Anderson, Bruno Borges, Tony Epple, Wei-Chi Gao, Jonathan Giles, Jose Pereda, Sven Reimers, Eugene Rizikov, and William Antonio Sierra. And we put together what we think is the definitive guide to JavaFX. It's a great community resource. It's written by the Java community. And hopefully you find this book valuable. You found the talk valuable. And as I mentioned earlier, you can find this presentation at the link that you see here. You can also win some awesome JFrog T-shirts. And with the limited minutes I have left, I'm going to open it up for Q&A in the room. So we'll switch over to Q&A for maybe the 2 minutes or so I managed to shave off my talk. And I'll join you guys in the hallway afterwards for anyone who wants to join me and chat more about the best ways to engage the Java community. So thank you guys very much for watching, and enjoy the rest of the Friends of OpenJDK